Hello, it's about that time again. A few new things that I've got recently before the lockdown, which has returned once again, and back to buying records online, which is a very dangerous place to go. And a few things I've just been listening to lately as well. So let's get on with it. A lot of great soul artists have done soundtracks. It's kind of like a sort of rite of passage for all great soul artists to do them. So you can think obviously Isaac Hayes, Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye, all got their classic soundtracks. One great artist who perhaps people kind of forget that he's got a soundtrack is Smokey Robinson. And here it is, big time. Smokey Robinson soundtrack from 1977. It's a mixed bag. It's not great, and I have to say this isn't a great copy, but there is some lovely stuff on it. A very nice instrumental version of The Agony and the Ecstasy, which is a great song anyway. Nice to have it in an instrumental version. And a really nice, the theme from Mr. Big Timer, I think is great. It's got some nice sort of cosmic sounds at the beginning and the end, which have been sampled quite famously. But yeah, nice little thing to throw in there with the collection. And yeah, easy to forget that Smokey had a soundtrack. A real classic that I picked up from my guy in the market near where I work, just before he had to pack up for a while. This is the Eugene record by none other than Eugene Record, the lead singer of the Chi-Lites. And he did this solo album in 1977 as well. And it's a great album. All of that lush Chi-Lites sound with a very, very funky of its time sort of sound. Very much a rare groove sound that is really popular still. And there's some very saccharine, sweet, over-the-top songs on here as well. But there's some great stuff. And it also has the classic Overdose of Joy, which has brilliant lyrics, and everybody loves it. Tells us the story of a man who passes out, and because of the overdose of joy, they think it's a heart attack, but it's not. And they can tell that he hasn't been robbed because of, what is it? On his finger is a ring, and around his neck is a costly piece of jewelry, as he says. Great lyrics on that one. It's a really good album, actually. It stands up, so I was really pleased to get that. And it's got great names involved in it. I mean, obviously Barbara Acklin doing the background vocals as well. Tom 84 doing some of the arrangements. Can't go wrong with him, really. So great stuff. Oh, look, there's Wayne. Oh, no, it's not Wayne Henderson. Yeah, great stuff. Lovely. Here's an interesting one that I got a while ago. And I really like this because it's a really nice copy. And this is Chameleon, who were a sort of soulful, jazzy, funky, disco-y kind of group from the late 70s. This is 79? Yeah, 79. And not all of this album is totally to my tastes, and I've never really bonded with it that well, but I've been listening to it a bit lately because I really like it. Produced by Fred Wesley and Azar Lawrence, who is one of the members of the band. Executive producer, Don Mizell. So you kind of know what you're going to get here. Just looking actually at the instruments, does it say it here? What's on the inside? It gives you a taste of their sound. A lot of saxes going on and Zarsonic wands, whatever they are. Fender Rhodes, Yamaha Electric Grand Clavinet, Prophet ARP, Mini Moog. So lots of synths going on as well. Bit of flugelhorn we can see here, bulldog bass, whatever that is. It gives you a taste of the kind of sound that you get here. It's a very synthy sort of thing going on. The classic song here, which is really great, really nice percussion, is The Game of Life. So I'll put a bit of sample of that one. Really nice. And I love this because this is a copy which comes with stickers from the original shop that it must have been sold in. Fillmore East Records, thank your inflation fighters. I'll go with that. Pretty good. So yeah, that's a really nice one to have, and sits alongside a lot of that sort of groovy music from the late 70s, sort of rare groove sound, but yeah, really nice stuff on Elektra Records, that one. So that's a goodie. Now, I haven't showed any Latin music for a while, so let's see what we've got here. This is a great album, but it's not so much famous for the actual music on it as it is for the spectacular artwork on the cover. An absolute classic, a real work of art, that one. This is Luis Gasker. It's a kind of jazzy, Latin jazz album, very heavy on the percussion, which is nice, with a bit of help from Carlos Santana, no less, as well. And there he is with a fine head of hair and his dogs. And yeah, I mean, I kind of got this because it's a nice record to listen to, but let's be honest, it's all about the cover. So it looks very nice on my wall. I've had a few comments about that because it's been there on past videos. Lovely, amazing stuff. The record's pretty good as well. It used to be very available everywhere, and it's become quite expensive now, but I think because of this cover. When I got it, the guy said, yeah, no, very often when you see this, the covers are absolutely battered, but this one is absolutely minty fresh, the cover. And you really want to get it for the cover because it's such a beauty. So, yeah, pleased to have that one. I'll deal with that later. And here is an album which we go from the sublime to the ridiculous, because such an amazing piece of cover art there with Luis Gasker. Here is an absolute shocker. Terrible cover art from the Fannie All-Stars. Looking good, lads. This is from 1989. You'd never have guessed. The back's even worse, actually. But this is a really special album, I have to say. I love this album. Fannie All-Stars, obviously, amazing stuff they did in the 70s, in the heyday of salsa. And as Fannie All-Stars, they went on to do lots of quite experimental stuff for Latin music. I mean, they were really trying to get in the disco and the pop sort of sound. Some of it's a bit hit and miss, but when it's good, it's good. I mean, they did an album with Gene Page, interestingly, which is very much a straight disco album. This is very much a Latin album, but it's spectacular. I really love it. And you think 1989, not a grand year for this sort of thing, but brilliant stuff going on here. By this stage, the Fannie All-Stars are not the mighty agglomeration that they were with all of the famous singers. I think all the famous singers by now had become very hip to the fact they were being scandalously ripped off. So there's no singers on this at all. All you've got are the heavy band leaders from the time. So there's Ray Barretto. You've got Papo Luca from the Sonora Ponceña, Roberto Rowena, Bobby Valentin, and the man himself, Johnny Pacheco. This guy, I don't know who he is. For some reason, he's not credited on the album. I think they do name check him in some of the songs, but he's the timbales player. I can't quite work out who it is. I'll have to do a bit more investigation. But the sound is wonderful. The title track, Guasasa, is a beautiful song. Really nicely done. They've done a spectacular version of Why Can't We Live Together, the Timmy Thomas, is it? Yeah. Which you wouldn't actually notice it's that song. And there's just other great stuff. It's quite of its time. It's very 1989. There's lots of synths going on, and which with salsa music can be a bit, but here it absolutely works. And everybody has their little moment to shine on here. Papo Luca's always worth listening to. But I think of all of the players who really makes this album for me, it's Bobby Valentin on the bass, because the bass on this album is, the way it's recorded, it just sounds lovely. It's really warm and bubbly, and I love this album so much. I've just been listening to it non-stop lately, back to back. It's great stuff, and like I say, the sound is wonderful, just really warm, just good old Latin music. There's not much singing, like I say, but it doesn't matter, it's fantastic. So definitely worth having a listen, that one. And finally, sticking with that late 80s, early 90s sound, this week I managed to complete the trilogy of Kofi, one of my favourite reggae singers. I've shown this album before, a classic, Black with Sugar, the stuff of legend. And like I'm often saying, like this period in reggae music, it was a lot of particularly lovers rock, British reggae, it was getting very synthesized and the sound is starting to lose something and it was not so great. But here with Mad Professor on Ariwa Sounds, it's just fantastic. So that's that one from, I think that's from 89. And then that's the last one, which I've had for a while, this one from 94, Friday's Child. And the one I just got recently to complete, finally, Wishing Well. Now all three, they kind of work together. She does covers of her old Brown Sugar songs, because she was one of the members of Brown Sugar, which all stand up pretty nicely. There's a nice, on this new one I've got, there's a nice version of Long Shot Kick the Bucket, which I think was the Melodonians? I can't remember. It's one of those good old rocksteady songs. But there's other really lovely stuff on here. All in the Game is a great one. Wishing Well, the title track, is great stuff as well. And a lot of her records, there's a lot of them. And her records, I think because of Discogs, have become really expensive. Which I don't, it's a bit of a shame because they are great records, there's no doubt about it. But I've seen people trying to sell this for like 70, 80 quid. And it's a great album, but it's not 70 quid's worth of album. So worth checking out for, but it might crop up in a shop somewhere. You don't want to buy that one online paying silly money. Even the 12 inches, a lot of them, which do come up a lot, they charge a lot, and I don't really see why. But it is great music, hey, what can I say? But yeah, really pleased to finish that and get that little trilogy. Lovely, lovely stuff. But yeah, my pick that I've been listening to at the moment, I have to say, is it's all about the fannie All-Stars, Guasasa. Lovely stuff. So I'll put a few samples on if I can. And until next time, stay safe. Don't get too bored. I'm sure you'll be all right.